Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. On today, one of the days that I have off, I figured that I'd actually tell you guys another story and talk a little bit about mindset. It goes so much farther deeper into that because so many lifters, pretty much every single lifter I know, in fact, literally, I can't think of a person who doesn't fit into this category, has some form of body dysmorphia. To either from like a little bit like, oh, I could get bigger in this area, to literally like, I am the smallest person I know, I'll never be great, I hate exactly how I look. And looking at it, fitness, it really isn't, it shouldn't be based around that, but it ends up being based around that. People get that little bit taste of the gym, their endorphins pump up high, they feel great about themselves, and then they look at social media just a little bit more. They see the freaks of nature they are surrounded with, and suddenly they're nothing. After like a year, maybe a few months, maybe a year of training, they feel like they are smaller than ever, and it's almost like this graph where it's like happiness goes up until it doesn't, and then it just falls through the ground. And I experienced that at a very high level. For me, my freshman year I felt incredible. I was lifting a lot of weight. At least I thought I was lifting a lot of weight. Felt great about myself. Thought I looked awesome. I noticed some muscle gains. Life was perfect until sophomore year when I joined the swim season. I lost a ton of fat, actually quite a bit of muscle, and I got into like the mindset of the fitness, like watching the fitness YouTuber videos, seeing the David Lades of the industry, the jacked, incredibly lean individuals who are putting on massive amounts of weight, and I was not able to do any of that. My lifts plateaued except for my deadlifts. I felt like crap every single day, and it got to the point where I was literally leaving class every 20 minutes to make sure I still had abs. And saying that, it sounds so weird. Who leaves class to make sure they still have abs in the mirror? But I was like, I'd always be like feeling around for them, checking checking my biceps, and then I'd have to leave class to go like look in the mirror and make sure I still had abs, which absolutely blows my mind away. Like that's how far I had fallen. And in this phase, I didn't want to bulk because I didn't want to get fat, but I also thought I was still fat, so I wanted to cut. And then I got like really ultra obsessed about every single small detail that ultimately hurt my progress. I was not making gains around this time because I was so obsessed with the stuff that didn't matter, and I wasn't focusing on what did matter. And what did matter was what I could control. And now I was literally going to therapy over this time because of some other things, and the body dysmorphia being a huge part of it. I hated myself. I looked in the mirror and I was like, I am nothing. I can't stand the way I look. I was in such a bad headspace that there was a point when I just didn't want to wake up anymore in the morning. Like that was where I'd gone to where I just felt like this massive feeling in every single part of my life. And there was a few other variables in there too, but body dysmorphia was a huge part of it. And even years later, I still struggled with all that stuff. I'll edit my videos. I edit my photos by messing with the exposure, messing with the contrast, because I feel small in them. Even if I didn't feel small when I took it, if the angle wasn't right, etc. It's just a lot of stuff that like affects your day, and it really does add up over a long period of time. So I can confidently say I've had bigorexia, body dysmorphia for like the last 5 years of lifting, and it shouldn't be like that. Fitness should be enjoyable. We should feel better about ourselves. We should never be knocked down a peg. Granted, there is some mindset stuff where it's like if you're truly going to be the best, you should never be okay. You should never settle. And I do tap into that mythology just a little bit. I take a part of that. But instead of hating myself every second of the day, I more so compare it to a state of blissful dissatisfaction. I am loving the process. The effort that I put forth feels good, but I want more. And that's sort of where the switch happened for me when the therapist that I was seeing told me to only work on what I can control. Only worry about what you can do, and then stop worrying past that. So when it came to hitting my calories, I would make sure I got my calories in, I'd make sure I get my workout, I'd make sure I get my sleep, and then I was just done. I would stop worrying. The stuff that mattered, but the stuff that didn't, whether I had abs that second, just didn't matter. I knew what and I looked a little bit more to the variables that went behind like the progress and stuff like that, so I had a better idea of what needed to happen. And funny enough, stress disappeared. I became much more precise in my training. I enjoyed it a lot more. I became an assassin with the mindset that I put forth. I felt incredible. I started looking really good too. I brought forth the intensity that I needed to, but it wasn't the intensity that crippled me when I was outside the gym, because I felt good. And over time, I've just been refining the mindset over and over and over again, making sure that I'm not missing anything, but also loving the process, but still wanting more, still having goals to set for. So much of, generally speaking, we tell ourselves that when we hit whatever number, whatever weight, whatever look, we'll be happy with ourselves. We'll get that reward, the dopamine burst when we do that, but it never happens like that. And that's because the majority of our dopamine is released as we work towards a goal. And if we aren't allowing ourselves to be happy as we work towards the goal, we're going to be super depressed when we reach the goal and suddenly we don't get that burst of reward that we thought and lied to ourselves that we were going to get. So once you become effort-oriented, that's when the big changes start to happen. That's when you control the effort that you put forth and get happiness from the effort you put forth, the world is yours. When doing something that's hard feels good, you won. The world is your oyster, and you can start really reaping the benefits of it and feel good about yourself because we can always control the effort we put forth. And if that effort feels better than the reward itself, it's like, dude, you've won. Talking to girls, if you love the feeling of being stressed out when talking to women, you love it. You'll get it, and you won't be stressed out. I mean, you'll probably still be stressed, but you'll feel good. You'll get the girl. You'll have the confidence. Same thing for the gym. If the pain that you feel when doing a bicep curl feels good, you won, because most people quit when the pain starts. When the pain, I'm not talking about like emotional pain. Like there's pain that's beneficial in terms of like straining. I'd say straining, which straining is great. Actual pain, where like mental pain or anguish of like losing a loved one, we should never seek that. But pain and stuff that we can control is so underrated. And so once you become focused on that, you have unlimited opportunities ahead of you. And that's what I kind of beg you guys to really reconsider about your lives. Stop obsessing about the goal. Obsess, but work on what you can work on and just cut off the effort there, because it's only going to stress you out. You're going to add excess cortisol, which is inherently not anabolic for our body past a certain point. Exercise does release stress, but stress when we're not exercising is generally not a good thing for like long term. And when it's chronic, we really start seeing the negative side effects start to pop up. And so that was kind of my story. Very short. I could go a lot more in depth in like what happened that sophomore year. But I was just in a terrible headspace. I hated everything. I hated myself. I hated other people. My body dysmorphia was a huge part of that. And once I got that down, life got better. I started seeing progress in the gym that was just kind of unheard of. I don't think, if I hadn't had got precise with how I was training, doing nutrition, instead of just going at it like a brute back in sophomore year, I don't think I would have pulled 500, let alone 600, let alone 635. I don't think I'd be repping on 4 plates on squats like it's nothing. I don't think I'd be benching 225 for a set of 13 with more left in the tank, repping on 275, doing 24 pull-ups and running 15 kilometers in a night. So it's one of those things where it's like I think that I demonstrate the principles pretty well, and I think those principles are something that can apply to all of you guys really, really well. So I'll leave you guys with that. I hope you all had a great day. This is a little bit something, I don't really do all these talks all that often, but from my experience, I feel like I'm in a pretty good place to talk about it, and I hope you guys will be able to learn something. So if you want to talk about your experience with it, comment down below, dude. I'd love to talk to you guys, have some discourse, not even really discourse. I think discourse is a negative context. Have some conversation in the comments, and I might actually make a video of what some of you guys talk about, because I'm always learning. I think that's the best place we can be, when we're always taking other people's viewpoints and incorporating what works for us and what doesn't work or what is right into our own. So hope you guys have a great day. Stay strong, get in the gym, lift some weight, and have a great night, guys.